Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to MLW Network. I, of course, am Nickens, and today this is MLW Recap. This is where we just get a bunch of people on, and we are going to be going over some big major topics, whether that be game breakdowns, draft, other things like that. I, of course, am joined today by some very special analysts. Of course, I have Connor, aka
What's
Connor
up,
the Cobras
ladies?
fan. I got XX Dark
What's going on?
46. I also have Declan, aka Mallards
What's
Y.
going on?
And I also have ECK Sports, aka Charles or Ethan.
Hello.
And yeah, guys, today we had some exciting news coming out of the MLW Wiffle League office, of course. This is really big news, not only from just like a league standpoint, but just a content creator standpoint too. Basically, they released a huge document full of all the active rosters. So the active roster at a time has been shortened to five. In the past, you used to have like the Gators in 2019 with 17 or 18 rosters, but now they've shortened it to five active players and two reserve substitute players, as well as everybody else who is going to be dropped is going to be into the free agency pool. In Brendan Zerlag and Drew Davis's podcast on the MLW, the Pipe Up podcast, basically they'd explain that there would be rounds and pools of players that would be entered into the draft, and if they didn't get drafted, they would put into the free agency board. And so what this opens up is a massive opportunity for other teams that currently just have three-team lineups to pick up free agents and pick up other people like that in order to fill up their rosters. So it's no longer just kind of like massive rosters and then three rosters. You're going to see a full kind of 17 rosters. And what that means for us as analysts is that today we're going to be breaking down every single team. Each of us has one or two teams that we're going to be breaking down the roster and the potential for trades as well as free agent pickups in the future. It's going to be really interesting. So yeah, you guys ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to go up first. We're going to be going into championship order or draft order based on picks. So of course that means we have the Gators, and I think Gators are one of the more simple lineups in the league in terms of like who is going to start. Of course, they basically kept their four people that played last year: Brendan Zerlag, Brendan Jorgensen, Chris Cheatham, and Bix Beaton. They don't have anybody in reserves currently, and of course, they don't even have a draft pick this year because they traded it away in the infamous COVID trade. Um, so currently for them, they're definitely going to be looking to probably pick up some people from the free agency pool. I know Brendan mentioned this, that he's scared to put some people in because they may get drafted, especially people he was looking at specifically. So it's kind of this waiting game for the Gators at this point. They have good pitching. They probably need somebody. Brendan doesn't want to make himself obsolete, but definitely having a good fourth man who can pick up the slack where Cheatham and Jorgensen don't always produce is very nice to have. We know that Jorgensen is definitely more of a contact hitter. Chris Cheatham just hits bombs, So it's not. It would be nice to have somebody who can definitely back up them at the plate. Anybody else have anything to add? Declan, do you have anything to add to that?
Okay, put me on the spot. Honestly, I like what you said. When thinking about it, these are the 2020 champions. Honestly, they, like you said, the slack was there. They were seventh in league batting average, but that was due to a couple bad series. But still, like you said, they don't have any picks. Even if they did, it would be probably a horrendous pick because they would have the eighth pick. Like you said, it's just the waiting game for them. Probably who they're looking at right now is going to get drafted. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough spot.
I was thinking about the Gators. I think they need another hitter. Zerlag definitely struggled last year. I've talked about him a little bit on the MLW Discord. I really like Andrew Gilpin. He played really well against the Mallards. Sorry, Declan.
He did. 100%. I'll back you up. He really did. He hit good.
I think
he hit nukes, but
I think like he has that. I feel like even though he didn't hit any homers, I believe, I feel like I just see like he has a lot of power in his bat. I think if he's around, and he can, commit to a full season, I think he would be a very good option for the Gators. Or, they could look in the free agent pool for, some Eagles players or, just players that went undrafted.
Well, I also love the idea of Andrew Gilpin, but I think the thing with him is I believe he's a college baseball player.
He is.
Which is, but again, I see the power that he definitely has. I mean, they call him Big Grizz for a reason. I mean, he's a big guy. He definitely has a lot of pop. But I think for the Gators, it's kind of like what the Preds for the heading into the 2020 draft. Like, they didn't really need to change a lot because they had that formula which worked. Like, I understand Zerlag, maybe you need a third bat because Zerlag, despite having a pretty good OBP, he still only hit .98 this season.
He did have a couple of robbed home runs.
Ben Wilson.
Especially at Colts. At Colts, I think he had one robbed by
Ben Wilson too.
Kelly,
yeah. But for sure, it's kind of like with the Preds, they didn't really have to do much heading in this season. They're still going to be a good team unless something, ridiculous happens, an injury, which we hope doesn't. I think they're still going to be a good team, but maybe just trying to get that third bat out of free agency. Maybe try to make something if he gets dropped out of a Max Tamalka or a Grant Smith type player. But I don't know. I think the Gators, they're in a good spot right now. Just maybe or someone that can pitch if Jorgie or Cheatham has to miss a game. But I think that can still be Brendan Zerlag. So, yeah, they're in a good spot.
I have to agree with you.
I'm not 100. You guys might know this. Do they have to have all 7 spots filled up?
I don't think so.
I don't think
because
so.
If so,
but
I see
this
Zerlag
point,
maybe going after another active player or maybe a reserve, but I don't see him trying to fill the 7-man roster. In fact, I don't see it possible to fill that 7-man roster. Dark said, they're in a very good spot overall right now. I don't think they need much besides for hitting. So in my mind, if they could pick up Grant Smith, I think that'd be a great trade, or heck, even maybe trade with the Eagles for that 5th pick. I very much think that 5th pick could go away. So, but overall, I think they're in a very good spot right now. I do think they need to add at least one more player because I don't think Bix Beaton is that 4th guy. But besides for that, they are in a very good spot right now.
All right, moving right along, we are going to go to the Wildcats.
237 in the postseason. Yes, I'm a huge stat nerd. 939 OPS, 475 slugging, and a 465 on base percentage. 14 home runs. All 14 of those home runs came off of 2 people who both hit 7 home runs. Kyle Schultz, Nick Saylor, the dynamic duo. This team was easily, by far, the best team in MLW all year. I don't care that the Gators won a championship. I don't care whatever they did. The Cats blew them out in game 1, and they showed who they could be. If the Gators did not get Cheatham, they would have blew them out of the water. Jorgie couldn't hang with Schultz and Saylor's hitting, and it's simple as that. They have the 7th pick in the draft. I don't know if Kyle's going to be going for something big here. Saylor looked good towards the end of the year as a secondary pitcher. Against the Cobras, he was pretty good. Although I will say this, they strike out a ton.
Oh, Nick Saylor actually strikes out quite a bit.
Yeah,
Nick Saylor, he reminds me a lot of Aaron Judge. It's either dinger or strikeout.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I love Nick Saylor. He's one of my favorites.
But they were second next to they were second next to the Magic as most strikeouts for a team. It was either boom or bust for them. I mean, Kelly wasn't helping, but again, this is going to work for a while.
And I was thinking, so you saw a big jump, especially pitching-wise, from Kyle Schultz's 1.84 ERA in 2019 to his 0.59 ERA in 2020.
Yeah.
And I found a big reason of that was he stopped throwing fastballs. If you watch 2019, he was throwing a lot of fastballs and they were getting hit for home runs. Well, I don't think I saw him through a single one this year. He was throwing like risers, and he has something else like a drop or something. But yeah, I mean, I think the Wildcats, they were the best team this year. Like Declan said, even though the Gators did win the World Series, I think the Wildcats were the best team, and yeah, I think they'll be good next year.
So that the Cats were the best team in the league this season. I mean, the duo of Kyle and Sailor was just absolutely insane, especially at the plate. But I think it's same thing with the Gators. No disrespect to Mr. OBP, Ryan Kelly, but they need that third bat who can not even just like a power bat. They have their power bats. They just need a little bit of contact. Considering, I mean, you look at the stats here. Ryan Kelly, despite he only hit .88, but he also got 30 walks, which was second in the league. No, not 30 walks. I accidentally just looked at strikeouts. 29 walks, which I think was second to Tommy. But yeah, no. Despite the 508 OBP, I think they still need that third bat, just like the Gators do. I don't know what Kyle's going to do with pick 7. He's probably going to try to take just someone that can hit, considering they have their pitching spots solidified. And pretty much just same stitch as the Gators, especially if they don't get anything from Aguilar or Purock this season, which who knows with their commitments. It could just be looking for that fourth guy, just like the Gators.
I think that they need secondary pitching more than they need hitting. I would disagree. I think the Diamondbacks have the best hitting lineup in the league. I think all three of those dudes can go yard at any time. But definitely the duo of Kyle and Sailor is no doubt the best hitting duo in the league. I think they need a secondary pitcher besides for Sailor. I think Sailor's a good if need be he could pitch, but I think they need someone that can move the ball because I don't think we didn't see much movement from Sailor. He threw a lot of straight balls and not and kind of a slider, but besides that, not really any production from him. So I think they'll go after secondary pitching. But other than that, yeah, I agree. They were the best team in 2020. While I may not like that, it was true. They were the best team in 2020. So yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Wildcats do. Kyle is usually pretty straightforward and decision making wise. I don't know if they are interested in anything related to free agency. Of course, this is pretty much, I would say Kyle is really, this is his baby and he's making sure that it works well. I don't know how much he will look into making sure he fills out the roster, but it'll be interesting to see exactly what the Wildcats will do next season. They have a great lineup.
You look at that roster.
And
I mean, Purock is technically listed as a reserve, which is interesting. Probably has something to do with his college stuff. But Aguilar is still active, so you don't know with him because he showed in I think the one game that he pitched that he could still be that good number 2 pitcher for the Cats.
Yeah, 2019 he hit 300 again on the Diamondbacks. He was the guy who was getting on base all the time for the Diamondbacks. And if he gets that form, it's almost like they can just work up the draft pick. So you could potentially see that secondary pitcher.
Who knows? Trade 7 for something in the future.
Well, up next we got the Preds. ECK.
So the Preds are my favorite team. For some reason, people think they're going to miss the playoffs.
Yes, they are.
Because they are.
No, they're not.
Because they're not.
They are.
No. I mean, we were talking about team stats earlier. They hit 13 home runs with a total of 36 RBIs and 102 strikeouts. It's a lot.
Okay. Scratch carried.
Yeah, so Ryan Crash, he hit pretty well. I know most of his production came at the later half of the season, but he actually did hit well in the first series. It was the ball was going to Daniel every time. So it was kind of unlucky, but, that's how it is. Warda was really good in the playoffs. He hit 286 with, I believe, 4 homers. And also, these aren't just any homers. 3 of those were against Kyle Schultz, the guy who just had a .59 ERA. So, I mean, I think, and then Brendan Russell, I don't know. he was swinging at a lot of bad pitches this year, and I feel like in 2018 and 19, well, really more the first half of 2019, he wasn't really swinging as many bad pitches, and he was a lot more patient at the plate. So if he can get back into that 2019 self, because 2018 is not happening, if he can get back into that, then I definitely like that. And then I think Warda, I think he's got some upside, especially because of how well he did in the playoffs. And then in terms of pitching, Crashed was pretty good all year. And in terms of the draft, I want a pitcher. That's the bottom line. I really like Warda. I think he's got some good stuff. Swanson, I think, is okay, but the bottom line is I want a pitcher. I want a number 2 pitcher behind Ryan Cratched, and I think if they get that, and if every series at least one of Brennan and Alec are hitting pretty decent, I think they can do really well this year.
I like where the Preds are. I agree with how Russell's plate discipline was not the best this year, especially in that first series against the Eagles. I mean, yes, Dan's a great pitcher, but he was missing so many pitches. Crash, obviously, and the second best player in the league. I think we can all agree on that.
Nope, he's number 1.
I had him as number 3.
Declan, I'm gonna. Oh my god. All right, so yeah, Crash was the second best. For me, he was the second best player in the league. MLW record for strikeouts in a season. Man throws that slider, man, is so crazy. Anyways, Warda, he's always been a second half kind of guy. Like after the All-Star break, he kind of just starts going crazy, especially in the playoffs in 19 and 20. And Kyle Schultz really seems to be like his. Warda is pretty much Kyle's kryptonite when it comes to pitching. But I mean, James Swanson, I like him. He showed decently good stuff on the mound. He showed he can put bat on ball, just a lot of unlucky flyouts. But the one thing I love about Swanson, for MLW, maybe it's not important to keep him around. I love his defense. He looked amazing in the field. Like almost, I was tempted to vote him for Gold Glove if he didn't have any like top 10 plays. I was tempted to vote for him just because when he did play in the field, he was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
What? The Preds picked 6 this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Preds picked 6. I agree with ECK saying they should go for that secondary pitcher. I mean, Warda and Swanson both are pretty good. Warda, I don't think should be pitching next year. Swanson, maybe, if he can work on his stuff a little bit. Because he looked like he had good stuff. Like, he had a good sidearm motion. Pretty nice slider. But I think they need that second guy for sure. Yeah. Keep Swanson around. Maybe drop Harlan Smith. I mean, he looked all right, but maybe keep him as one of your 2 reserve spots. And
I agree with that.
Roll with the big 3, Swanson, and whoever you pick at 6.
I agree with basically everything. Unpopular opinion, Ryan Cratch is the best player in the league currently, not all time, but I do think they are in a good spot. I think Swanson showed promise, and overall, I think that he could be the answer if he just got more time to develop. So I would be going for a hitter to kind of back up Brendan Russell if he has another down year like he did this year. So if I'm Alec Warda, I'm going for a hitter. I'm not sure if that's what he'll do, but that is my opinion on the Preds. But other than that, I agree with basically everything that Ethan said.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot because Preds are in an interesting spot because they have Swanson or Smith that's going to go on to reserves. I really like James Swanton's. It did feel like in games he got gassed by the second inning, like the later half of the second inning, and he just couldn't finish it out. Or it was second inning and third. Yeah, he just couldn't finish out a game. He looked really good. I definitely want to keep him around. I don't know why Harlan wasn't there a lot, so I would assume that Harlan probably gets knocked to reserves for this upcoming draft pick. I'm excited to see what they do, but for the most part, it seems pretty clear cut for the Preds.
All right.
Declan,
let me defend myself. I know that thing currently, as Connor said, that was directed at me. Honestly, you can make an argument that Cratch has been one. I will not take that away from you. But over the last 2 years, which I know everybody's basing off of, Everybody's acting like Kyle Schultz sucked in 2019.
He didn't.
The guy hit over 300, so I don't want to hear about
Kyle Schultz had a
his ERA was
352
still-
average, 16 RBIs, 5 home runs, a 460 on base percentage, 577 slugging, and a 1.37 OPS. Don't ask why I have that. I made a video on it.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyway,
He did.
my
Check it
point,
out.
exactly. My point is absolutely proven. And here's the thing: anyone who wants to make the argument, oh well, Cratch had the most RBIs, Cratch had the most fed off a tee when he was facing the Cats. Schultz specifically chose to bench himself for the playoffs. He put in Aguilar, he put in Sailor. If Schultz pitches too, Cratch doesn't have as many RBIs, he doesn't have as many home runs as Schultz. It's a blowout when it comes to MVP voting for batting. Anyway, so the problem with the Preds, in my opinion at least, it's 100%. It is their hitting, because James Swanson is not prominent, but he is a good number 2. I like what you guys said. He can work on his stuff. I think that is really, really good for him. I don't think we should give up on him yet. Let's consider they have the 6th pick, so they're not going to get anybody ideal. But I like what you guys said. Honestly, I don't have anything other to add than, this team was not good hitting. Cratch really carried them. They'd probably be close to where the Eagles were, which was, by the way, horrendous. And if Cratch literally just wasn't Barry Bonds in the last 6 games, he had like 6 home runs in 6 games. And honestly, the Predators are Ryan Cratch. Simple as that. Just like the Eagles are Daniel Schultz, the Predators are Ryan Cratch.
The Magic are Jason Chadwick.
No, they're not.
No Chaddy slander.
No.
Yes, they are.
LJ is still...
No.
We'll get to so yeah, next up we're talking about the Eagles. And I think the Eagles probably have one of the more interesting problems out of all the teams. It seems like everybody else has a pretty clear cut, this is what's going to happen. But for the Eagles, it's not so much. They have currently a full 7-man roster, along with 2 draft picks coming up in the 2021 season. So that means automatically they already have to drop 2 people. Currently on their roster, they have Dan, Clayton, Zach, Neil, and Josh. They picked up Josh off waivers, so it's interesting that he's still in the 5-man lineup, and they dropped Max and Grant to the 2-man reserves, which makes sense, seeing as I would say they're probably the bottom 2 players on their team. Now, the interesting part comes when, is Dan going to drop Neil over Josh? And then are they both going to go down? They keep one up? Are they going to wait for the other one? It's going to be interesting for them. I would like to say that they probably drop Neil and Josh to 2-man lineups and kick out Grant and Max, and then bring him up when maybe the rookies can't come in, and vice versa. It seems that the Eagles are currently in a need of a second bat. Dan is great. Dan was clutch and carried to the playoffs all year. The thing is though, with the Eagles, is that they have pitching, but batting wise is just absolutely atrocious. And luckily they have a number 3 pick that will definitely get them a good hitter at least. They're going to have to probably get 2 straight hitters. And that's assuming that Clayton Price is healthy all of next year. Not saying he won't, and that's assuming that Clayton's also going to be at the same form he was. If Clayton's not at the same form and they don't have a next guy up in terms of rookie, then the Eagles could be in big troubles, not only in rosters but as a team.
Everything. I do think they need to draft a hitter at the 3 spot, but I think they need to draft a pitcher at the 5 spot. Just to tell you, as a team, they've added 133, which Declan's more of a stat guy, but I believe that is the worst in the league.
It is.
By far.
In terms of...
By 50.
Yeah.
50 points to be exact.
By a lot.
They had 22 hits. I'm not sure how much that is. They struck out 107 times. Neil Smith alone struck out 29 times. which I believe Agner struck out like 46, so that's nothing. But I think hitting needs to be their main priority, and I think that's what Dan is looking for. He even said that in the draft last year. He was like, hitting. But, like, obviously, if you have the 7 pick, you're not going to get a great pick at the 7. But I feel like overall, this is what this team needs. They are going to need hitting, but I do think they need that secondary arm just in case Clayton who knows? Maybe we see a Clayton Price retirement just due to that injury that happened. But yeah.
Let me just be clear to everybody. Just if you did not know who Clayton Price used to be, in 2015 he hit 652, which was 111 points higher than Kyle Schultz, an OPS of 2100. Boom.
Yep.
There you go. Slugging at 13.91 and an OBP of 709. Clayton Price was elite. And unfortunately, he had a lawn mowing accident, and unfortunately, last year was not ideal for him. Still pitched great. But let me just get this straight. Anyone saying right now that the Eagles can just trade for their picks, or like the Drop MLW suggested, they should trade for Chatty with their 3rd and 5th pick. First off, that is a massive overpay for Jason Chadwick. Second off,
Declan,
hold on. Let me get through this.
I have the exact trade in my video.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let him explain. Let him explain.
Let me just say, if you are saying the Eagles should trade any of their picks, what is that going to do? It's going to further put off the problem that Daniel has right now. Sure, he's going to cut Max Tomolka, but if he trades away his pick for another pick in the future or another player to be named later, I don't even think that's a possible thing in MLW. But honestly, it just further prevents. I mean, he's just putting off the inevitable. I mean, it's so people who are saying that, in my opinion, it's just a bad move, because if I'm the Eagles right now, like what's happening? Like if you boil it down, there's no way that Neil Smith is getting cut. There is absolutely no way. Grant Smith is probably not getting cut. Yeah, I agree he should, but actually, you know what? I'll get to that another time. But if you ask me, it's 100%. They have 9 people technically right now. 100% it's going to be Max Tomolka and the 5th pick. If you or if it's Matt's, because in my opinion, the only people who are getting good picks, like 100% to the moon, is 1 and 2, Cobras and Mallards. Eagles maybe at 3, maybe, but 5 might not be as good. I mean, all these things considered. Sorry I rambled on for so long, but there is just so many questions, and I hate hearing that they were somehow better than the Mallards last year. I don't even care. They were a 100% the better team than the Eagles. The Eagles were by far the worst team in the National League, if not the worst team in all of MLW. Yes, I said I don't care. The Cobras hit 270 last year.
Hot take.
270. I don't care. It's because they lucked out. 100% they lucked out. I don't care.
And you mentioned that 2015 season. I talk about that a lot. I think he was awesome that year. But ever since then, he's been going down and down and down and down. And I think Clayton Price, in terms of number 2 pitchers, is the most underrated.
Trevor Bond.
Okay, I mean, I don't know. I feel like he may have been underrated a couple months ago, but not anymore. And some of you guys here know who I think is the most overrated. But no. I think though, I mean, a batting average of 133, like, are you kidding me? Like, that's just not ideal. I mean, what I would like to see is I know Neil Smith is going to be on that active roster, but he shouldn't be. And I mean, it's kind of sad for Eagles fans. I mean, we'll see what he does next year. But I mean, with the picks, the 3rd pick, I think they should just go all out offense. And I'll say the 3rd and the 5th pick, I'm sure they can pitch. You know, all the guys that every player in this draft pitched this year, some pitched more than others, but way more than others, actually. But I think one of those players at 3 and 5 will have the ability to pitch in case Clayton Price is not that good. I think Josh this year is upside. I said the Wildcats shouldn't have traded him for Aguilar, I think it was, but I think he's definitely upside. So, yeah.
For any team in the MLW, they have the most questions. First off, they already have the 7 guys. Max is gone. As much as I want to see Neil gone, I think it's just because he's like Dan's really good friend, along with Jack and Clayton, and that's why they're all there. Neil should be demoted to 2-man reserve. Grant should be gone. You roll, and personally, I mean, I refuse to slander Clayton Price. He's the MLW's Alex Smith, pretty much.
Yeah.
But you could see him if he was running, he was. You could tell he was not. Even I think they said the last series of the season when they played the Gators, Tom said you could tell he's not 100%. He just wanted to go out and play because he loved it. Is a retirement in order? Maybe, but I think he should be like, yeah, he can still pitch and whatnot, but he's offensive liability at this point. He's not going to run for you, like, pretty much at all. But I don't know. The 3rd pick, you can definitely see some potential there. I mean, when you have a team where I don't think anyone even batted above 200, correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
you're right.
No one did.
Right.
Dan was like the highest with like a 188 or something like that. Dan.
It was 187 and 186 from Zach.
Just want to point this out. Neil
Dan,
Smith hit .7, and then Clayton Price hit the same exact average.
But what separates them is Clayton.
Neil played 15 games, and Clayton played 9.
Yeah. Can I just finish what I was going to say? I refuse to slander Clayton, but I think it might be time for him to either hang it up or step back into more like a part-time role, maybe like a second manager, kind of like what Drew is going to do with Gus when he drafts him at 8. Basically like a second manager, occasional player type. I think for 3, you go absolute, you need offense. 5, go for a guy that can pitch. Especially if Clayton decides to be like more of a part-time guy, because I'd love to see him hang around. And then also, no, they're not going to trade for Jason Chadwick. No bias as a Magic fan, but Jason Chadwick's going nowhere. You know, the Eagles just have so many questions. Dan is obviously still one of the best pitchers in the league, best overall players. But they just need that offense. They need that number 2 guy if Clayton's still not 100%. And yeah, that's pretty much what it boils down to. You got to get rid of Max, got to get rid of Grant, demote Neil. Bring in your 3rd pick, bring in your 5th pick. Don't trade either of them.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely tough for the Eagles this year. I think we're all going to be looking at the Eagles in terms of what exactly is going to go on with their roster. They're probably the most interesting team to watch after this draft. Yeah, but we're going to go ahead and move on to the D-backs.
D-backs first. All right, the D-backs. I love the D-backs. If I wasn't a Magic fan, it'd be D-backs all the way.
Heck yeah.
Obviously, you look at their roster, they got their 4 guys are, of course, you got Jimmy Norp, who's the new manager. Love that move. You got All-Star Ben Wilson, you got Father Jonah, and you got Gavin Reski, who's going to be like, it says active roster, but he's going to be like more of like a sub-type, I think they said. And they also, where are they picking? 5, 4?
4.
4th pick,
4.
I don't know. The 4th pick is they have the probably 2, I think like the 2nd best pitching tandem in my opinion, only behind Jorge and Chris.
Yep.
You got Jimmy's nasty, like that drop ball especially. He's a disgusting pitcher. Jonah as a lefty, very good pitcher. Fellow lefty, I love him.
Me too.
Yep. I don't know what you do. Maybe get like a more contact hitter type. Because I know Norp had that 4-something average, but Ben Wilson shoots more for power. Jonah's kind of in the middle. So with pick 4, if anything, make it into a guy that you can develop as a hitter for you. So if you roll out a 4-man lineup with Jimmy, Ben Wilson, Jonah Heath, and that number 4 pick who can hit the ball, that team's going very far because you have the 2-man pitching tandem. You have 4 guys that can hit. The Diamondbacks are in probably like the best future right now.
Yes.
Just with Jimmy, with Jonah, Ben Wilson is still, even though he was an all-star, I still find him very underrated as a player. He doesn't get the kind of love that he deserves. Should have won Gold Glove.
And also as a
person.
person.
He should have. I just think the D-backs are in a very good place right now.
I would try and trade the pick to either. I'd go the Preds just because I was either going to say the Preds or the Eagles because those are who I have missing the playoffs. So I would trade it to the Preds because the Preds have the later pick, and I don't think one of my hot takes in Young Guns was I think the only good picks are going to be picks 1 through 3. So if you trade that pick to the Preds, and then the Preds miss the playoffs, so let's say they get a top 2 pick, that's very good for you.
Yeah.
So overall, I think they're in a very good spot right now. They are number 1 in my power rankings going into next year.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Also, there's one more thing I forgot to add. Sorry, I totally forgot to talk about this. Is about like the rumors of like the Preds, D-backs, Cobras 3-team trade involving like Brendan Schultz to the D-backs, a pick to the Eagles.
Hold up. It was Gavin Ureski in the 4th to the Cobras, Brendan Schultz to the Preds, and the 6th to the Diamondbacks.
See, that doesn't make sense. I don't think the D-backs would trade down. I think they don't want a pick in return. Because, again, they look very good. They're already number 1 in my power. I agree they're going to be...
Why would the Preds do that trade?
Because the Preds, why would they give up their pick for Brendan Schultz when they're not even going to play much next year? I don't know. There was the rumors of that 3-team trade. I like the 4-man roster, probably 5-man that they're going to roll in with next year. They'll probably be able to pick someone up out of free agency just based off Jimmy and Jonah's connections with Livonia City. Maybe one of their old teammates that they played, like the other 2 guys that were on that team. But, I just think because it was Jimmy, Saylor were at the Winter League. I know Jonas played with them as well at Wiffle and the Mittens. So maybe their connections can get them another guy. But I don't know. Just draft maybe another like a pure contact bat at 4, and they're fine.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of situation for the D-backs. They're almost at a place where like you almost don't feel like you should want to do anything to them because it almost would like mess them up. Because right now the 3-man lineup of Norp, Jonah, and Ben is really good. Of course, people have been calling for Gavin's head for about 2 or 3 years now. And it's kind of like one of those things like you're figuring out what the heck am I supposed to do with this team for Jimmy.
Pitcher only, he doesn't hit, and you can tell just by his swing and inability to make contact that he doesn't take swings often.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you probably are just looking for like I would feel like if there is a Nick Saylor like 1.5, because you can't be 2.0 because you can't be twice as good as Nick Saylor. You just need like a 1.5 Nick Saylor, like a baby Saylor, who can like hit like bombs. Just a little more consistently to Ben, and then like could also pitch if like Jonah can't show up or Jimmy can't for whatever reason Jimmy can't show up. But like you never know. But that would be like the only player I would see the D-backs drafting.
So
Declan.
For honestly, let's be real. Everyone, I think we're all in agreement. This has been easily the most busy team in the offseason. I report a lot. And Jimmy has been named manager. Teal is off the roster. One of their other, I guess,
OGs.
There was 5 D-backs, and the other one was named Semensky, and he's off.
Yeah, Blake Semensky never even showed up once.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're all in agreement. This has been easily the most busy team in all of MLW in the offseason. Especially because Jimmy is working trades out. But honestly, I don't think that Gavin gets released. I think he possibly gets demoted to deactivated or I guess just not active.
Reserves.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the reserves,
and, I know you guys are probably gonna, hate on me for this, but honestly, it's either boom or bust for the D-backs. It is either they go 10-5, they make the World Series and possibly win it.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Or-
I think
that's what I have in mind.
for them, I
or-
think it's World Series appearance or bust.
Or so they win the NL pennant, possibly win the World Series, or they most likely are awful, miss the playoffs, and I mean it might be like it might exactly be like the Cleveland Browns.
You really have them
just a few
missing
years ago.
over the Eagles or Mallards, though.
Okay, I'm not saying they'll miss, but I'm saying, look, let's be honest. Honestly, they just lost to a team they swept, and I get Jorgie wasn't there, but they got pretty much blown out. They didn't lose like 5-0, but I mean they weren't even close.
They
They
only
weren't
got one
even
hit that
on
whole
Gators
series.
level.
Johnny.
They won 6 games, and that was because Jorgie wasn't there, and the Mallards hitting is god awful. They suck. And then honestly, I would not be surprised if somehow the Eagles and Mallards pull it off, but I'd say it's either boom or bust for them.
Yeah.
For me, I either have them making the World Series or I have them missing the playoffs.
The D-backs, weren't the D-backs undefeated in the regular season when Jonah played?
Yep.
Yeah.
They were like
7-0.
7-0 with him when he
Yeah.
played.
Yeah.
It's the father Jonah effect, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love Jonah.
I got something. So here's my thing with the Diamondbacks. They have 2 factors. If Jimmy Norp is consistent on the mound, because as much as we love Jimmy Norp and, for instance, a guy like Jimmy Norp or Jason Chadwick, right? They're pretty good aces, right? But they're not quite the level of a Chris Cheatham or a Ryan Clash or, Daniel Schultz or Kyle Schultz or something like that. But I think if Jimmy Norp can stay consistent on the mound, and if Ben Wilson can be a little more consistent on the plate, because he's definitely got some pop in his bat, very good power hitter. But if he can, string together some more hits and get on base a little more, I think this team is scary. And it's funny you bring up 10-5 and make it to the World Series, because that's exactly what I have it right now. 10-5, make it to the World Series.
Yeah, it's D-backs got. I like the activity that Jimmy Norp's doing. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens to them too. But we got to move on, and we're going right back to Dart with
this is
the Magic.
my team.
my
Okay,
goodness.
Metro Magic. First up,
Biased.
Chatty's going nowhere. LJ's going nowhere. Jason Chadwick, as much as I love him as an ace, he's going to stay the ace for sure. But he needs to get the walks down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think
100.
I think he was second to Drew in walks. Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Chadwick, let's see.
He was second to Drew by 1 walk.
Yeah.
He walked 60, and Drew
And
walked 59.
That's not a good look when you're right next to Drew Davis. Just saying.
No. Yeah, no. Chatty.
He led the league. He led the league in walks.
Strikeouts.
Yeah.
LJ, as much as I love LJ, I think even as a Magic fan, I will say people overrate him a little bit. Just because
He's
his
very.
ERA was like what, a 2.5 or something along those lines.
5.48.
5.48. Yeah.
He played.
LJ gets knocked around. Obviously, his first game was rocky. Throw a couple worm burners. We got, I don't know, Jack Agner. He needs to go back to 2019. Agner. I think it's because the beard. He lost the beard. He lost all of his pop, just like James Harden would. He needs to be. I don't know. It's not the beard. He just definitely wasn't as good as last year. We all know that. And then we also have Joey Flynn, who, no offense to Joey Flynn, I freaking hate Joey Flynn just because we traded our pick for him, and he did. I mean, he was all right in the field, but was like practically useless at the plate. And then we also have Cam Beaton, the worst beaten as of now. He, I think, showed up for one or two series. And, he wasn't that effective either.
I love his pitching.
I think we don't have a pick this is what is making me mad. We don't have a pick. So, and I don't know who we're going to be able to pick up from free agency. Maybe someone that Chatty or LJ has connections to. But I think this is going to be a rough year for any other Magic fans out there. I have the Magic missing the playoffs on the AL side.
Yep, same.
Very close to the Cobras, but I think we're going to maybe get 5-6 wins like we always have, but it's not going to be enough this year. Just because Agner, I don't know if he's going to be able to bounce back. Chatty's going to have to be more consistent. LJ's going to have to be a lot more consistent.
So I actually have a theory of why Agner's not going to go back to his 2019 self. One, he said on the podcast, and you can kind of tell it in the videos, he's transformed his game to being not, the main hitter in the lineup.
They need that kind of pop, though. That's the thing.
That's true, but I feel like
need Moonshot Agner.
That's true, but I feel like he's transformed his game in a way, which I know I said Russell's going to bounce back, but I saw flashes of Russell's old self. I really didn't with Agner. And I don't think Russell has transformed his game into a like what Agner's trying to do. But, me and Connor are going to have a pretty heated
argument.
Okay. Yeah. So for Magic, I'm just thinking, looking at our roster, we have 5 guys.
Connor, you can go ahead, buddy.
Who knows about Beaton's commitments? Because I know he might have another job thing lined up this summer. Kyle Hook. Sorry, just remembering Kyle Hook makes me very sad. Anyway,
Bucket hat Kyle.
Bro, imagine if we had Hook and Chatty on the mound all season.
Oh my God.
Hook is the ace.
Oh, dude.
Hook's dropped, man. I just love it.
Oh my God.
So we have 5 guys. We have no pick, which I hate. I'm sorry. Again, I don't mean to be disrespectful with Joey Flynn, but you're not worth a pick. You're not worth a pick. I don't know. We just need Agner to go back. We need to probably pick someone up out of free agency that, someone probably from Trenton that Chadwick or LJ would have connections to. And yeah, it's going to be a rough year. Luckily, we have our pick next year.
Yeah.
Probably going to be the second pick behind the Mallards.
Oh!
Mallards are missing in the NL, but,
No.
I knew this was coming.
Me and Declan are going to throw hands in a second.
Yeah.
Okay,
this is going to be funny.
Oh, no.
All right, Connor, what do you have to say?
Yep.
The combined batting average of the Magic was 200. The combined batting average of the Pacific Predators was 189.
Okay, that's 11-point difference. All right, let me put you this.
11 points is a lot for team batting.
The ERA of the Magic was 2.9, and the ERA of the Preds was 1.6.
Yeah, because you guys have the freaking Cy Young winner.
Yeah, but you guys
walk machine.
Sure. And
just a reminder that Jack Agner's ERA counts towards ours, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Agner's ERA counts.
Oh, yeah, so does Alec Wargo, who's, I guess, not that great, right? He counts. James
Wargo's a lot better of a pitcher than Agner.
I mean, I feel like people are talking about Jason Chadwick like he's Randy Johnson, and he's not.
He's a walk machine. I even said I know he's a walk.
I'll say this. He doesn't have the most flashy arsenal, but I think he gets the job done for the Magic. I have the Magic going 8-7, getting the 2 seed in the AL, and making it to the World Series.
No,
I'm
a Magic fan, but that's a stretch.
But yeah, they are the most underrated team going into 2021, and overall, I think they're going to have a very successful season. I don't, to be honest, if Agner can go back to 2019, I don't think he can. But if he can, this team doesn't need anything. If LJ and
they need a secondary pitcher.
Just listen. If LJ and Chadwick can get their walks down, I talked with Chadwick on my podcast. And he said as long as they can get the walks down, he thinks that they can be successful. And I think that too. As long as they can get the walks down, they are set. And overall, like I said, most underrated team going into 2021.
It's a lot of ifs. If Chatty can get the walks
down,
if
you can do that for any team.
ERA, if Agner can go back to hitting nukes,
you could do that.
A lot of ifs, and I don't think much of them are going to happen. Yeah, LJ's probably going to improve a little bit. Chatty's probably going to get his walks down in his second year. But I don't know. Maybe I'm underrating them myself as a Magic fan, but I don't think we're making the playoffs in the American League.
You're not underrating them.
let me. I think I just have a couple of comments. I agree mostly on everything happening with them in free agency and stuff like that. I will comment on Jack Agner's batting style. I remember him talking about on the podcast, but he's taking a different approach, and it's just his first year doing it. But from what everybody's talking about, and I've heard comments around the league about it, it's just that the way that he's batting is a lot more patiently.
Seemed like he
He's
was.
not swinging at everything like he used to. And I think that he'll definitely improve upon what the method he's using this year. I think that you'll probably see him do better. Will it be as good as maybe 2017 Jack Agner? Who knows? But I definitely will think that you are going to see an improved Jack Agner, and the Magic will probably have
I gotta agree
a better
with that
batting
because,
average
like, and that's another. Then that's why I'm saying that he's not going to go back to 2019 Agner.
Dark is high with that comment about the Mallards.
I knew it was coming.
I do not know what you are on right now, but I'll calm you down there for a second. First off, the Magic hit 200, which is pretty good for a team that cycled through players. They're probably the worst
through many players. We had 6?
I don't care how many you cycled through. It was still the worst. Anyway, anyone saying that Joey Flynn isn't worth a draft pick, you have to specify what it is. If it's an 8 pick, he's 100% worth it. If it's the 8th pick,
it's the 4th pick.
He's the 8th pick. Hold on. Just like Gavin Kresge is worth an 8th pick from the Cobras, this guy's worth an 8th pick from the Cobras too. He was pretty good in the playoffs in 2019. He just didn't show up this year. Simple as that. Again, I know fielding isn't that much. I know ECK talked about it a little bit, but honestly, I really, really liked his fielding this year in the little games he showed up to. But 100%, it's LJ and Chadwick's. It's literally their house. It's Agner's kind of handing the keys over, which is good to see. And one thing, Hook is 100% the ace going for the Magic in 2020 and probably beyond, because Chadwick was originally supposed to be, Agner said, like, I just need you for one game, and Hook is going to pitch. And then he was like, yeah, Hook can't come. So honestly, it's the same thing with the D-backs for me, but it's just a little lower. With the D-backs, they 100% have a higher ceiling than them. But in my opinion, the D-backs have, a lower floor than what the Magic are. So with the D-backs, they have a higher ceiling, but they could be worse than what the Magic's worst is. In my opinion, the Magic are probably going to make the playoffs. I have the Preds missing the playoffs. I know you guys hate me for that.
Yes.
No,
I love you for that.
no.
Ryan's pitching alone gives them 8-9 wins.
The Magic are good. Don't underrate them. Same thing with the D-backs. They could be good.
So I like what you said there, but it was a while ago. But did you say Joey Flynn was good in the 2019 playoffs?
Oh, why, you got some stats?
I just wanted to check you on that. Because
okay. All right, hold on. I'm not saying he was good, but he got the job done. I mean, without Joey, Brendan wasn't like there, but I mean, you can't really find a better substitute than.
I'm talking about the Preds series.
Oh, you're talking about the Preds series, and the Magic series was much different. Much different.
Yeah. That's definitely true.
He got killed in the Preds series, but who didn't? Like, who fielded well, and who was pitching?
That's
Drew
true.
was awful in that series.
I love watching that series. I love it.
We'll go ahead and move on, but Magic, very, very controversial team, as we can tell. But let's go ahead and throw it back to Declan for the Midwest Mallards and their roster.
All right, boys. All right, so
let me
address it. As a Mallards fan, I am living in Spain right now, without the S. Steve McPeak, Noah Davio are both gone, and I am very, very sad. Austin Ford also officially gone. Nate Lies also officially gone. It was just horrible. Let's be honest, Bean is really there because you can't have two people on a roster right now. I think Tommy is literally just saying, "Oh yeah, Bean's here," but as soon as the draft happens. I do have some inside intel. It's probably going to be a 3-team lineup this year. And anyone saying that the Mallards are going to miss the playoffs, well, you should probably check the Eagles lineup and
though,
right now. Hold on.
it all depends on the second.
Let me see. Let me finish up.
Wait,
Mallards hit
ECK,
203,
wait.
Eagles hit 133. That is a very, very big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, Gators lower 2 by 20 points. And the D-backs were inflated by the last couple series. They still would have hit better than us. But honestly, not trying to be delusional here. I'm just going to give it to you straight. This was not the Mallards this year. But when I get people saying that Tommy and Trevor are not good hitters, I don't like hearing it. Trevor hit 185 this year, and he did not get a single hit his first 2 series. So he had to get all of his hits in the Eagles, D-backs, and the Cobras series. So he had to get all those in the last 3 series of the year, and it combined for a 185 batting.
Were against the Cobras specifically.
Tommy hit 311, and Tommy's power, I really, really like that ECK take on the last Young Guns one. His power's going away. That's 100% true. I agree with that. But Tommy's also switching back to righty, which it worked last time. It might lower his average a lot in MLW. Elephant in the room hit 3 home runs this year. That's terrible. Something's got to change.
And the dude that accounted for 2 of them is leaving. So
yeah. And Noah was being fed off a tee against Tomolka, and I think it was Smith too. But let me just give it to you short and sweet. I'm going to add on to whatever crap take that I hear from any of you. Let me just give it short and sweet. It's either Tommy drafts Nick Saylor 2.0, which I don't mean he's going to get Nick Saylor 2.0. In fact, I don't think there's a Nick Saylor 2.0. But this is exactly what the situation that the Wildcats were in last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, I could talk for hours about the Mallards. Let me just give it to you right now. If Tommy can return to old form, and if Trevor is the guy that people are saying he is, which I'm not just the one saying it, I get people all the time who are saying that Trevor is going to be good next year. If that works out, if he drafts good, the Mallards could 100% go deep in the playoffs again. Honestly, it's really just about Tommy. Can he keep the roster consistent? Because the roster it was so bad last year. It was second worst to the Magic. So that's all. Sorry for rambling. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay. So, but if in both with the Eagles and the Mallards, if that second and third pick work out, if it's all about that pick, if both don't work out, I think the Eagles are better because I trust Daniel Schultz carrying a team more than Tommy Coughlin. I think, though, I trust Tommy Coughlin, and I think he's going to draft a good player.
I sure hope you mean pitching, because if you mean batting, you need help. You need a lot of help. I sure hope you mean batting. I mean batting.
All right.
Because hit 311, Dan hit 187. So I
mostly mean pitching, but watch this happen next year. So you talk about a Tommy, hitting the home runs isn't really too big of a deal. I'm calling this right now. Next year, if the Mallards rookie hits a bunch of home runs, you're going to use that as a reason why he should win Rookie of the Year. Calling it right now.
No.
Yes,
I hate runs. I've said this multiple times. Kratz should not be MVP just because of home runs and RBIs. So I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to use that 100%. If I use that, you can DM me and I will post something about it, how I'm a hypocrite. But if I'm voting for him, it better be because of OPS, slugging, on-base percentage, and his average.
All right. So, Declan, you're going to hate me more than you already do. But I do believe that I think, honestly, I think most of us can say that the Diamondbacks and Gators are locks for the playoffs this year. Correct?
Yeah.
No, not locks. Gators, Diamondbacks, no.
And I think the race between the Eagles, I think the Eagles Mallards race for that third seed is going to be like the Magic Cobras this year.
Oh yeah, it all depends on the pick. It's all
going to depend on the pick. And personally, looking at the Mallards, Tommy, I mean, he's Tommy, very good pitcher, good contact hitter. Pop is mostly gone, but he has that one homer. Hopefully, if he hits righty for a season, he can maybe put up like 3 homers, even though homers aren't really that important. Bonham, I refuse to slander Trevor Bonham. I love Bonham. As a pitcher, he looked very great. Hitter, he started coming around in those last 3 series of the year. And especially if you saw him, I think he won the Wiffle in the Mitten with Chadwick and Jackson.
Run himself.
So, I mean, I love Bonham, but the problem is you need that second pick to pan out. If that second pick does not pan out, you do not make the playoffs. Even with the pitching of Tommy and Bonham, which I believe that Bonham is actually going to become the ace this year, even if it's not by the third series. Bonham will start 2 games a series. Tommy will do 1.
He will.
I've said that all year. I've said that. I said that on my podcast. If any of you listened, I said if Tommy isn't working in his first 2 series, he needs to demote himself, and Trevor needs to get the hill.
Because he did start doing that, like the last couple series. He did let Trevor throw too.
Exactly. And Tommy isn't selfish where he's gonna say, oh no, I need to be 100% the team. No, he's not that. He's not that. He's 100%. He's willing to do what's best for the team, like Nareski. And honestly, no matter how this pick pans out, the Eagles are going to have a 7-man roster, and I am more like you said, if the 2 pick doesn't pan out, then nothing else does besides the Cobras pick, because honestly, I see this as either a pretty much I've said it a lot, but boom or bust draft pretty much. But
like I was saying earlier, I think that one guy with the last name I'm not even going to try to pronounce goes number 1 to the Cobras. Yeah. And then you guys get Allen, because Allen has that pop in his bat. He's a decent pitcher, too, in case Tommy or Trevor don't do well. He's a pretty decent pitcher, but y'all need his hitting, especially considering the guy that, again, got you 2 of your 3 home runs is retiring.
And Noah, okay, I'm going to say this right now. You guys might hate me for it. Noah was absolute paperweight the whole year.
I can't believe people were voting him for the All-Star game.
Noah,
I mean, yes, it was his last year, but he did not deserve to be an All-Star. And people were insisting on voting him. You don't have Darrico, you don't have Steve. You're going to mostly be rolling with a 3-4-man lineup if Johnny shows up, which I don't think he will. But I don't know. I think it's going to be like both the Mallards and Eagles are going to be like 5-6 win teams. It's going to come down to if Allen is a bust or whoever you draft is a bust or not. Yeah. You never know. There could be a number 1 pick bust. Who knows?
You are overrating the Eagles and you are underrating the Mallards right now.
I'm not overrating the Eagles just because they had 3 picks. And Dan Schultz, who I agree with ECK saying I would prefer Dan Schultz to carry a team rather than Tommy. Because figure the one time that Tommy made the World Series without Kyle, he had the MVP on his team.
2. He made it to the World Series 2 times.
When Darrico wasn't an MVP and he lost to Kyle. I mean, granted, yes, Kyle was insane, but even Kyle.
Dude, Tommy deserved the MVP in 2017.
So you look
okay, and then you look at Dan.
I don't care. He literally pitched out of his mind. 1.17 ERA. I have that memorized. 6-4. I don't care about the record. The team couldn't hit.
And then you look at Dan. You look at a guy like Dan. He had in 2019 the .17 ERA. Carried the Eagles to the World Series. And yes, granted they got swept, but his hitting was equally as bad in 20. I mean, yes, Dan was a better hitter in 2019. But compared to 2020, the rest of the team's hitting was like equally as terrible.
Oh yeah, I mean.
All right,
I think that they're going to draft Dallas Allen more for the fact that he can hit and not pitch. I think, in fact, I would not be shocked if they do draft Dallas Allen, and heck, by the end of the season, you don't see Tommy pitching at all, and you see Trevor pitching 2 games and Dallas Allen pitching 1 game. That's if they draft Allen. But overall, I think that this team is going to be looking for hitting and not necessarily pitching. And I have them making the playoffs as the 3 seed and actually giving the D-backs a decent fight. Overall, I think that they'll have a successful season. I think whoever the Mallards draft is going to win Rookie of the Year. Tommy's system is amazing. You even just saw from the beginning of 2020 to the end of 2020 how much Bonham improved. The Mallard system is awesome. So whoever gets drafted by them is winning Rookie of the Year. Overall, I think that they can make a good selection at 2. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Mallards have definitely an interesting year ahead of them. I'm very excited for everything they have planned. I definitely agree. I'm definitely a Trevor Bonham stan. I think that he has got a lot going for him. I think that he probably is going to be an underrated guy for next year. We'll see if he produces. I think a lot of it, the reason why we didn't see him do 100%, I think is actually due to nerves. If you watch Trevor Bonham first game to last game, it looks like two completely different people. And I think that's why he did so well in the tournament, is that he didn't have as much cameras. He could just have relax and have fun with his friends. I think you're going to see a different Trevor Bonham for sure.
More thing.
I'm very excited to see what he does.
One more thing before we finally get out of the Mallards.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this. Obviously, I'm a Trevor Bonham enthusiast, but I've talked to Trevor about a certain guy that you were talking about, and I mean, don't want to hint at anything here, but it seems like not too high on Allen. Don't know, but I have talked with him, and let me just be clear. Dallas Allen is not a 16 or 17 or 18-year-old. I think he's like 50. He might be 15 or 16. I don't know.
He was in the 14 to 16 division.
That's what I worry about.
Yeah, and honestly,
because he will be there for a while. Like, he's still a high
But that's the kind of guy that Tommy wants to draft, though.
Well, here's the thing, though. He was, I mean, were the numbers inflated because he was in a smaller division? We did not see the
that's true.
I was thinking about that.
He was 13 to 15, so
we could have. Tommy was at that tournament. And if you ask me, there's a lot of. It's not like the NFL draft where nobody's gonna say like, "Hey, draft this guy." No, if somebody sees a person, they're gonna mention it to somebody else. They're not gonna be like, "Oh, no." If you ask me, honestly, I don't think they're getting Allen. If they do, it's because there was lack of older people. Ideally, if 17-year-old. Let me stop. All right.
All right. Yeah. A lot of interesting things going on with the Mallards. Seeing as, they've a lot of us feel like they're a 2-man lineup at the moment. But we are going to go ahead and move on.
Overall, they had a 4.21 ERA as a team and 100 walks as a team, which that's just crazy, and that's pitching. So overall, they are going to need to draft a pitcher. I think hitting we're set. And in my episode of Young Guns, I said that I would not be shocked if both Tommy and Drew get I don't like to use the word demoted, but basically move down to that number 2 arm by the end of the season. So overall, I think they're going to draft a pitcher because they had a 225 average, 11 home runs and 40 total hits over the season, and a 427 on base percentage. So that's not great. But overall, I think if they can get that secondary pitcher, they are right back into contention. And I think that rule really killed them with the whole secondary pitcher thing. And Flynn showed up for the first series against the Diamondbacks, and he showed some promise against the Preds. But overall, I think secondary pitching is their need, and that is definitely what Drew is going to go after.
Uh, 100%. I agree with Con. I'm on my podcast a lot. Don't mean to self-promote here, but honestly.
Yep.
Honestly, I'm
go ahead. We're all going to
self-promote
at the end.
If you ask me, Drew should step down immediately. I think we're all in agreement that Bernowski is getting drafted first. If he's not, then the Mallards are drafted.
How do you say it?
I think it's Bernowski. I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was Bowazowski.
Mike Wazowski.
Bowazowski.
I have no idea. Anyway, the name isn't important. It's like saying that, like, cool at the first time. It's not cool at the end.
Yeah.
It matters to
Anyway,
Kyle because he's going to have
you
to say
know,
his name in every
honestly,
video
Drew
from
should
now
step
on.
down. In my opinion, the Cobras have easily the underrated lineup in all of MLW. If Drew returns to his 2019 self, it's great. And Durand actually hit 267 with I think that says 1094 OPS. If I'm looking at the right column, I'm pretty sure it does. And as far as Flynn, he hit 298 with a 846 OPS. Not ideal, but both of them. Yeah, exactly. Both of these guys are really, really good hitters. They were definitely better than Drew this season, which is why you saw them higher Drew, for me. And honestly, I think Drew should step down from being the starting pitcher, and step down to the second role. Kind of the same thing with Tommy, but Tommy needs to see how Trevor is doing and how he is doing first. But I think Drew should step down. Bronowski should step up. And honestly, I see the Cobras possibly their ceiling is 11-4. Because if the Gators can do it with a couple rinky-dink draft picks, then I mean anybody.
This kid hates the Gators so much.
And then their floor for me is probably 4-11 to 5-10. So it could go from like the best team in the league to the worst team in the league. But I'm very, very high on the Cobras right now.
I definitely like them too. You know, right now I have them at 7 and 8. I like what you said about Andy and Sean. I think they're very good hitters. And, you know, in my opinion, it's not really that they need I think Drew should step down. He had a 2.54 ERA, which was by, I believe, around 50, like 0.50 the most for an ace.
Well, didn't Tommy pitch like 211?
2.07.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, that's not even close. Drew was terrible.
Yeah, so it's not even that they need a second pitcher; they need an ace. So if I think that Balazowski, or however you say his name, I think if I think he can develop, and I think this could be a very scary team. It just there are some things they do have to fix, but I mean, watch out for the Cobras this year.
All right. So I agree that the Cobras are definitely being underrated. Durand is still like a powerhouse at the plate. Very good player. Sean Flynn, yeah, he may not go back to his 2019 form with like a really good average and 8 homers, but
he was walking all the time.
Yeah.
No, he's great.
The average was good, but he was walking constantly.
He's still 298. His OBP was 484, which is pretty good. I mean, he had 17 walks. I mean, this whole team drew a lot of walks. At least 15 for every player on the Cobras. Not having Brendan Schultz there, I think not having Brendan is actually going to help them more than it's going to hurt them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was all right, but I think that format, well, technically 4-5 of Drew, who can hopefully hit a little better, Durand, Flynn, Mike Wazowski, and we all forgetting about Gus. Gus is going to get drafted at 8. I'm pretty sure he confirmed this on Pipe It Up. He's going to be, he said, like a sort of like second manager / occasional player. But, I mean, in the tourney, didn't he hit like a big homer or something, or almost had a home run. He's no slouch. And he looks like,
he's not a slacker for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks about like a Gavin Nareski.
Yeah, he kind of like Josh Lucier kind of size, really honestly.
But he looks like he's, shredded.
Yeah.
So.
Gus looks like he's, Gus, he could play a role. I mean, if one of the guys is struggling or doesn't show up, Gus steps in, takes a couple ABs, Gus does some damage. Who knows? But the Cobras, I definitely see them as either a second or third seed in the AL. I think the Cats are going to get the first. I think it's going to be a battle between them and the Preds for that 2 seed. Because, again, I have my magic missing.
Dude, I love how Drew is just assuming that he gets Gus. If I'm Tommy, I'm calling up Gus and I'm saying, yo, I'm getting you a...
No! You can't pass up. No.
Bro, I
feel like someone would absolutely... Whoever picks 7, I feel like Kyle...
The only person
I'd be like, nah, you're 7. Come here.
Yeah,
I think the only manager that actually I would think do that would be Alec. I feel like Alec is the only person I could see that would do that. Not that Alec's a bad person. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that Alec's a bad person, but I'm just saying like
Really?
Alec and
I
Drew have a little
I
bit
thought
of
it was
beef,
more
and I've seen it
I
on
just think,
Instagram.
honestly, if
like-
we need to, I think Rowowski or however
No,
you say
they
it,
get heated.
is going to be their ace. I think Drew should be the number 2 unless he can keep his temper down, keep control. The problem with Drew is I think Alec has said this like in a game. You get in his head, he starts throwing balls, you draw walks off him. Because Drew still has some nasty pitches. Like the slide drop is incredible. Pretty good rise piece as well. Drew is still a good pitcher, but he just needs to get the walks down. And he needs to control himself. Are the Cobras going to be good? Yeah, I could see them winning 7, 8 games, maybe up to 10. But I just think the Cobras, they're in a good place with their 5 guys they're going to have next year. Nothing in free agency, just Drew, Andy, Sean, Wazowski, and Gus.
Yup.
All right. I guess I'll close this out here. I agree a lot. Gus just does not look like a guy who his nickname should be Gus.
We
is
have
what I feel
Father
like.
Jonah, and something's gonna happen with Gus.
Yeah. You know what would be funny?
Yeah.
I think something
He's gonna
funny
be
is
good
that
for
Gus
2021.
turns into like the next Swamp Man,
guys-
or the
You guys
keeper,
didn't have the experience.
something like it. It's just gonna be
Saw
like
this
you're
man
just gonna
in
pan,
person,
and Gus is just
and
gonna be
he
in the
is
background somewhere. Or
absolutely
something.
goated.
Who?
Is how tall do you think he is, just by looking at him?
Okay, I didn't get really, really close to
Yeah.
him, but I can definitely tell you one thing. He's definitely taller than Kyle Schultz, but then again, who isn't?
Is it kind of like 5'10"?
Oh no, nah.
Uh,
Kyle's like what, 5'9", 5'10".
I think the only
yeah,
guy
I
that's
took a
shorter
picture
than
with
Kyle
him,
is
and
probably
he
Flynn.
is not that tall. But anyway, Gus is probably like a good 6'5", pretty tall.
Oh,
6'5". So
my-
isn't McPeak
He
the
is
tallest
tall,
in
dude.
history at like 6'4", 6'5"?
Dang.
Dude, McPeak
yeah.
is like 6'7",
She-
No, they confirmed it in a video once because the
6'4".
BL 101 trivia question
6'4". Okay.
was, what's the difference between McPeak and Dabrico? And I think it was 7 inches or 9 inches
Yeah.
because Dabrico's 5'7", and McPeak was 6'4".
Dude, Dabrico is so small.
It was
Yeah, I
9. It was
know.
9 inches.
Yeah.
yeah.
Here's
Like
the real question.
for instance, Jack Cross and Mitch
Yeah, no,
Martin, I
it's
believe,
very
are 6'3".
tiny.
I saw it on like the baseball profile.
Yeah, Nareski's also 6'3". I saw his
Dude,
baseball
because they
profile.
hit bomb.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Mitch Martin, I wish he. It would be great if he played. He's
But-
really good. Like especially in 2018. Like
I definitely think there's a great potential
I see
for the
Gus.
Cobras. I'm definitely looking for the upside. I'm excited for the Cobras next season. I think this is just going to be I think this is going to be probably one of the better Cobra squads in a long time.
Yeah.
Sad to probably see Brendan go.
He's an engineer.
Man's busy, but he's also a genius. So it's not like he needs
Yes.
wiffle ball to be.
I did hear that.
The man has 2 patents. Did you guys know that? He has 2 patents. I wish I was that smart. But yeah, I'm
definitely
excited for the
probably gonna be one of the most
Cobras, and I
competitive
think
seasons
that
ever.
there is a lot of interesting stuff going on in the off season. Yeah, but that's gonna be it for the episode.
you.
Make sure you like and
Later.
subscribe,
bye.
notifications on, and we will see you guys next time.
Nathan's gonna have to cut so
Yep.
much for this.
That was great.
Bye.